Welcome to the Locals Only Lounge. I'm your host, Andrew Dyer. Thank you so much for joining us. If you are just continuing from the last podcast, thank you for sticking with us. We welcome your comments in the chat. Drop your questions, comments, jokes, roasts, whatever you got. Drop in the chat. This is a much more interactive show than the Loyal Locals podcast. If you are listening to this on your podcast feed and you have not heard the March 28th version of the Loyal Locals podcast, I highly recommend you pause this, listen to that, and then come back to the lounge because we will be referencing stuff from that show. And you don't want to miss the continuity here. It's like if you're watching Game of Thrones and you watch the second episode before the first, you're gonna be very confused. Who are these dogs? What is this? What is this show? I don't know. So listen to that one first. But before I go down this rabbit hole any further, I need to introduce our guests. Joining us again, John Cross, our producer. John, how are you, sir?
I'm doing fantastic. I can't wait for our conversation tonight.
It's going to be so good. And also joining us, continuing from the last show, Sal Arellano. Sal, how are you, sir?
Doing good, doing good. Got a refill ready to go. Got some gifts to hand out to the group. So when we get to that, it'll be cool.
And now joining us, fresh from the salt mines of
that's right. I'm putting kids to sleep.
of putting the kids to sleep. It is the communications director of the Locals, Jason Ratcliffe. Jason, what's up?
Not too much. I'm excited. Always excited for the pod and to hang out with you guys. See you again. It's been a while, so I thought people might not immediately turn it off if they hear my voice. So hopefully we have a good time here tonight.
Excellent. So I know we all have our burning issues that we want to get to. So the way the Locals Only Lounge works is this is a more freewheeling show. We do not have a strict order of operations here with the topics that we want to talk about.
Wait, we do have one thing though.
What is that?
Cheers.
Cheers, everybody. I got
the only order.
What are we looking at there?
You got water for me here.
Water. Okay, we got the Kirkland. We got the hazy.
Let's
the
go.
hazy
Cheers.
Cheers, guys.
There you
I
go.
got the inside of this is the.
I think that was the only official thing on the list, right?
That's right. That's right. So, well, since I'm the one talking, I'm going to jump into my pet issue first, which I'm just doing that because I'm the one talking. But in case y'all didn't see this, there was reports this week about an MLS scheme to pay Lionel Messi's salary to come to MLS. And to do this, they will take from all of the teams to pay Messi's. He will command a high salary, even though he's in his mid to late 40s. He will command a crazy sum of money to come and play exhibition soccer MLS soccer in the U.S., which I think a lot of people looked at that and thought it was like crazy. Like, why would my team pay a player's salary on another team that we are in competition against? I'm just going to throw it out there. What do y'all think of this?
It doesn't even surprise me anymore with MLS. I saw that and I couldn't even get upset because it's on brand.
You know what my thoughts are, like just coming out of this gate here, is that if every team does pay, that Messi gets to play on each team for one game throughout the season.
Oh, that would be fantastic.
On loan, just on loan. Everybody has it for one game.
And then
owned by
yeah,
MLS,
right. I mean, that would be
right?
fair.
So,
and then you can swap Messi dates. So like if I'm scheduled to have
there
Messi
you go.
when we are playing LAFC, but you know what? We own LAFC. I need Messi when we play New York. So I'm going to trade
It's like
my Messi
treasure rights
to another team.
And trade him for GAM.
Yeah, GAM. Get some allocation money.
Different team every week. It'll be the Messi World Tour in the United States in the Major League Soccer League of Soccer.
What's the other trade? So they have the GAM, and then they have the there's some
TAM.
sort of level that you can move up and down. It's not the money. It's like the I don't know. There's some sort of, I forget what that one is, but yeah, that's about on par with teams that have rights to players that they like found, and someone owns the rights to Ronaldo. So like
Like
if
the
he comes,
Discovery.
the discovery rights. So if Ronaldo comes to MLS, they have to pay like the Earthquakes a certain amount of money because technically they own his rights because they discovered him.
Like Messi's
Yeah.
youth club still gets checks from every team that ever
Yeah,
signed
but
him.
no,
Like,
in the MLS, so like that's supposed to work, and like, oh, we found this kid in our youth system, but you can also use it on literally any person in the world. And so yeah, I forget who owns those discovery rights on Ronaldo, but someone did a bang up job
you
5
know,
years ago discovering Ronaldo.
there was a very long thread in Discord today about this. People debating the merits of such an arrangement, and you know, it kind of drives me a little bit crazy. And I kind of mentioned this earlier, but I don't.
I'll
You
take
know,
care of it.
as soccer fans, like the argument that this is going to be good for MLS or this is good for soccer in America, it's going to make it more exciting and more people want to pay attention to soccer. But to me, it's the further novelization of the sport. You turn it into just another novelty or another sideshow where we've got this a world great coming over for a retirement tour and a paycheck. And not only is he just coming to play a retirement in a what is derisively known as a retirement league. But guess what? Every team is going to help pay his salary in Miami or New York or
Right.
wherever. Like it's almost like it's like wrestling. It's like the WWE. It's like all the wrestlers are getting paid by Vince McMahon, and so now you've got Don Garber with his little stable of Euro talent. I mean, Messi's Argentinian, but he played in Europe. So
Unless you ask Argentinians.
well, I'm not getting into all that. No way. But it's like, you know, as soccer fans, like, you know what? I don't give a shit if MLS grows. Why should I care if the league does marginally better, if they get a better TV deal with Apple out of this, if the league's bottom line raises by this much, if more butts are in the seats in these stadiums, like this is a Messi is only going to play for so long.
I think
this is temporary.
There's going to be a point in time where, I mean, it might not happen in our lifetimes, but it will happen where MLS will be viewed as, you know, legitimate league. And I don't know if it'll ever happen if we get promotion, relegation, or whatever. And I feel like doing something like that, bringing in Messi, it almost mocks our system. You know, when we're trying to validate it. You know, where here we are bringing in like Andrew said, a sideshow. It's like, dude, get the hell out of here. Go back to Europe. Go to Saudi Arabia with Ronaldo. You know, it's go get paid 200 millions over there. You know, it's like,
you know, and it's not even like, you know, fine, have Messi come and sign with Miami, but come and sign with Miami legitimately. Let Miami pay your flipping salary, and if they can't afford you, you can't play here. Asking the other teams to help pay the salary for a player who's going to come in and score goals on you, going to come in and take points from you in the table that matters, and you're help pay for the guy that's kicking your ass. Like, there's just something so unfair about that.
So the thing is that this happens in other American sports, and we just don't talk about it because it's called revenue sharing, right? But basically what it is the big teams float the little teams. And I think there's any time that, you know, say, well, the Pirates don't sign anyone ever, but any time someone signs anyone ever, you know, oh, so-and-so signed with the Rockies. I was like, well, you know, they're getting $25 million a year from MLB because, you know, they're on the low end of who's making money. So the Yankees, the Phillies, the Padres, the Dodgers are all giving them money so that they can buy some player to completely waste. So so it happens. So like, it happens like differently, not saying it's right. But MLS is under such a microscope, and it's so
a little
obvious
different
because
though. Revenue sharing.
Yeah, but I mean, so revenue sharing is still, I mean, you're buying someone with somebody else's money, really, at the end of the day. Like, because you're talking about you don't have the money to pay this person, so you're asking the league to float you so that you can fill out your
Right, but the
roster.
difference in MLB
That's
is
not
that
obvious,
these
but-
baseball teams do have the money to play players, and the Padres have proven that. A team
Right.
that used to have one of the lowest payrolls in the league
Yeah.
now has one of the highest.
I agree, but it still happens, and there are still those teams out there, the Diamondbacks, people who, again, there are plenty of billionaires that own these teams that are only in it for the bottom line, right? And that's what we're talking about here. These guys own the teams. How do you get in? You pay them $300 million. That's how you get in their league, right? Like that's literally.
I think
how
in
you do
MLS
it.
it's closer to $1 billion.
Yeah, it is now, but in MLS the last
Such a
couple
fantastic league.
What
a couple
do
or
you-
300, we're looking at 400, 500 for San Diego probably, and it's just a money making. And to your point, Sal, you had said it'll maybe end up being a legitimate league. I've followed Philly Union since they started. That's where I'm from, and I've been Sons of Ben since before they had their first draft. And I had thought because they have been through it. They were terrible, and they dealt with that, and then they built the system. They brought in new people, and they were good. And since I've been following that, I've just kind of assumed, that the rest of MLS is doing something like that. And then they do this, like you're saying. Like I thought we were over the retirement thing. Like, yeah, some guys go to LA, some guys go to New York, but like not being viewed as that. If you do this, that puts you right back at square one. And it's not, we look at the Saudi American League, right? Or sorry, Saudi America. Well, Freudian slip there. But the Saudi Arabian League, where you're like, oh yeah, they can pay this guy $200 million. You're just going for the money. You don't care about soccer, blah blah blah. Well, people are looking at America and saying the same thing. You're just there to tour around.
It's
You're
it's
just a
like the
bear on
Live
chain.
Golf Tour for
Yeah,
soccer.
you're just a bear on a chain, Messi. You're something that was people want to go see you. And again, unfortunately, following the Union, I thought we were into everybody grows their academy. They have a good team. We all play together. But it's more obvious in MLS maybe than other places that these are franchises. Like we say it all the time, but we don't stop and think about it. Like a McDonald's franchise, it's just McDonald's, right? Like yeah, it's the Santee McDonald's, but it's McDonald's,
and a little bit worse because it's single entity,
right? In a single entity, so everything's owned by MLS. The whole thing is MLS, and we're used to it with other sports because it all happened before we were used to it. But yeah, just like that, and it's just it's different MLS clubs playing different MLS clubs, and they just happen to be in different cities, but they're all making money for MLS. That's exactly what it is.
I think if this was happening a few years ago, I'd be like, yeah, all right, it's MLS. But it's like, no, dude, it's like we're trying to detach ourselves from that stigma of it being a crappy league or whatever. And I have high hopes for it. And you look at what happened with Ibrahimovic, right? The guy from Milan, right? He went back to right. He came to MLS. And that's everyone goes to die their quiet death and retire and go on. He goes back. To me, that's an indication that okay, the guy's super old, and he's like the oldest guy that scored the goal, and I think in City A now or something. But it says a little bit about hey, okay, maybe it's not where people go and die and retire and do all that stuff. This guy went back, and now he's like blowing up, man. And it's like, and it's little bites like that. I think that'll eventually be big chunks.
But I think it's just as soccer fans, like I think for us, it's just insulting to suggest that we need a worm on a hook, like a sectagenarian Lionel Messi touring MLS stadiums, and to get people to come out or to get people to pay attention to soccer. It's just like I think the American soccer already has this chip on its shoulder and this grudge, fighting for legitimacy and relevance. And because of stuff like this, our best players play in Europe. We are still seen this way. If you look where MLS ranks compared to other leagues, where MLS is somewhere on par with like maybe England's second division, like League One or whatever, barely the championship. It's not there.
So I mean, I think this has like parallels with Man U and Wrexham coming over. Do you think that kind of fits into the same kind of category? You think that they're coming over here to kind of not so much mock us, but like bringing a better game to the U.S. I mean, it's kind of doing that, but it's not really. It's a different feel.
I think there's a couple things at work. I think it's advantageous for both organizations. Man U has toured the U.S. before. I don't think they've done it since the pandemic, but this is kind of just a return to what they've done. I went to see Tottenham play Roma at Qualcomm several years ago, where it was also second teamers, but it was a great environment. It was a lot of fun. So I think there is a history of these kind of exhibition matches with Premier League clubs, and that's fine. It is what it is. I was given those tickets. I didn't have to pay a crazy price for them, but they were giving them away. So, but for Wrexham, I think that this is probably going to coincide with the premiere of season 2 of Welcome to Wrexham. Just the timing of the soccer season, I would suspect that's around when the second season will premiere. There's a lot of hype and publicity and playing Man U, even if it is their U15s or whatever. There's going to be, hey, we're playing Man U. Look at little Wrexham playing Man U.
It's gonna be the Legends team. It's gonna be Man U Legends,
and it'll be fine.
Maybe Andy Cole's gonna get back out there. Just throw that jersey on and get out there.
I'm gonna get on.
It'll be, and this is something that came up in the Discord. Plugging the Discord again, but it's like a scene. It's not a place to go and sit and watch a serious soccer match, but it's a place to go and kind of hang out with other soccer people, and
which really fits into Snapdragon.
A place
right?
to,
it's a very scene place.
Yeah, hey, it's a place that I'm going to wear my loyal gear and hang out at. I'm not going to go to. I bought the worst seat I could find for the lowest price.
I got a Tottenham kit you can borrow if you want.
Oh no, I'm not. I would never.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, it's again, everything in life is money, and it's a money cash grab. It probably does help. Thinking about you're talking about the reality TV show. For them to have it out here, they can pop up to LA and do some stuff there with Robin. And Matt.
They can come down here. I'm sure they'll both
pop
be
down
there.
here for the game. It's a nice, easy thing to do. Not that they don't have a private jet that can get them to Wrexham in 7 hours anyway. But yeah, but there's some cross promotion. Maybe get them into some commercials, some LA stuff. Get them in a movie or something like that. So it's a good spot for them. But it's just straight up cash grab, and it's entertainment, right? We're back to WWE. This is sports entertainment essentially at this point, right? Everybody's hanging out, drinking some beers with their friends. It is what it is. We'll go. It'll be fun.
So I got to ask you guys, Andrew, keep referring to Wrexham as the reality TV team or whatever, but
they are.
No, they are. You're absolutely correct. But I just
the team was dying.
It was dying, and I'm a huge I'm a huge empath and sympathetic person, and I'm always rooting for the underdog, And when I started watching that series, man, I was so rooting for those guys to get promoted, to win, and all that, And it's not so much that I've never even heard of Wrexham before watching the show, but to me, the connection, I felt, kind of slight similarities of how our supporters group supports it. I mean, is there any kind of connection like that for you guys? Cool.
Yeah.
This is cool because there's people in their pubs, they got their Cheers pub or whatever they want to call it.
Gosh, they have a bar in the stadium. It's so great.
So cool. So
isn't that everybody's fantasy too? Man, if I had $1 billion, what I mean? Awesome to go and buy.
They're living out a FIFA or a football
national
manager
league team on the cheap and just bring them up through the ranks and get to be a powerhouse. It's fantastic. And I do like Wrexham. I do like the show. I will be watching season 2 when it comes out.
I hope they get promoted. I hope they win something, man. It's cool. I think that aspect of that story, I'm totally on board with. This whole marketing and all that. It's whatever. Yeah. I watch as a soccer supporter. It's in my heart, and I hope they come out.
What I call them? I mean, I'm being kind of I guess cheeky,
I know
cheeky calling them a reality TV team,
totally.
But I enjoy the show, and I enjoy the team, and were this a competitive match that meant something, I would be excited for the soccer on the field, and I would root for Wrexham,
Right.
regardless of their opponent, unless
It'll
it
be
was
cool to see
loyal.
Paul Mullen out there, though, right?
See, that's
And
a missed
the other guys
opportunity.
that we know.
They
Yeah.
really should be coming out here to play loyal. And I don't know if
That would be cool.
I don't know if Rob and what's his name, the other one, Daredevil, Deadpool, Brian. I don't know if they got the memo about loyal, but wouldn't this be
Maybe
just
if
a
Landon
little bit
suited up.
sweeter if it was Wrexham coming to play loyal in Snapdragon? I'm
I
just,
think that picture that
Little-
John showed us, Landon was slipping him a note, wasn't he? Like,
I mean, he gave them jerseys. I just don't know.
Yeah.
You know, I think we're missing a huge opportunity by bringing this English team that I don't even think is going to make. I mean, are they even going to make Europa League this year? Are they?
It would be great for San Diego soccer to just kick the crap out of them, right? we go out and beat them for them. I mean, and again, I've only ever watched one Wrexham match, and I think it was the last FA Cup that they were in and got bounced out of. I watched the first one that ended up in a draw. And I said after it, there's no way that I'm going to let you sit through this game, Wrexham watchers and Euro snobs, and then tell me that San Diego Loyal isn't good enough because my
For
sweet God,
fans
the
of lower
National
division
League-
soccer, right?
oh my God, like man, good.
Like
God,
the
God bless
love,
them.
the
They-
love
they
that
look
that
much better
town has
in
for that team,
edited.
and the connection that they have. You know, that's what we want to have here, right? Like that's the whole thing with Sport Group. We
Exactly.
want to have that, and yeah, we're not 100 years old or whatever, but you don't get to 100 years old without being 1 years old or 4 years old, right? You don't get there without being here first. And you know, you look at a stadium with a bar that has this history in this town with generational support. It's aspirational, and the fact that they play in that National League, which is like fifth division, right? It's just it's very heartening to see that stadium, the size of the stadium, and the number of people who come out to support, and knowing that you know, we don't even have a fifth division in the U.S. I think, well, maybe we do. I think that's where Detroit came from, but
it's like Nisa or something.
well, Nisa's third division.
No, they have like
Nisa's third.
Is it third?
There's
Okay.
Nisa, or there's USL League 1 and League 2,
USL
right?
1 and Nisa are on the same level. There's two third divisions, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, is that
Well, there's three,
and then
MLS
two,
Next Pro.
two, I believe, is unprofessional. What do you want to say? That amateur?
Dylan, the person who knows what he's talking about, is telling me that USL Championship is unquestionably a higher level than National League. So maybe
I watched
Loyal
45 minutes of Wrexham versus another
versus
National
Wrexham
League team, and I
wouldn't
can
be
tell
fair.
you it is certainly a higher level of soccer.
Well,
My lord,
maybe that wouldn't be
it looked
fair.
like me at Sportsplex. Like, God bless Paul Mullen. But again, you edit it up and you make it look nice. My problem with the Wrexham, whatever you want to call it, documentary or show, or whatever, is it is so much about Ryan and Rob. And like, I like them both.
Well, what is this guy, a movie star or something?
And you know, Rob is from Philly and, you know, have that connection. And I've been an Always Sunny fan since forever. But like, I watched that and I'm like, okay, when are we going to show any of the soccer? You know, and it's just kind of like, and then 12 weeks later, I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, and then at the game, it's still
kinda,
the cammers are on.
Yeah,
Ryan
the cameras
and
are
Rob
on like how
half
they're.
the time.
Yeah,
show the
So,
goal
yeah,
being scored
pretty
and like not the goal being scored, but him cheering.
and he's offset. Yeah. So, you know, it's a lot of, and that's what, to me, when I'm like, this is about them. That's what the show is. The show is them. Like, they knew it, right? As they're buying it, they're already documenting it.
Yeah.
Right. If we are to believe that these
You
are
gotta-
the real
you gotta
calls
hand
and
it
stuff,
to
like
those
they
guys
called somebody
on that.
beforehand and we're like, hey, we're gonna try this thing. Come video us. Like, okay, boys.
You gotta hand it to those guys though, man. I mean, you talk about like marketing and selling like themselves really for because they're bringing in all this money for the club, man. And it's like
TikTok is the
he
shirt
was on
sponsor.
it,
Like, come on.
like the Undertaker was about to like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? They came along and it just that's one thing I definitely looked this you know, watching that I'm like, man, these guys really did a great job in saving this club, and
Yeah.
you know, the rest is
I'm sure it's out there how they decided on Wrexham, but it was pretty clear that they were looking for like way down, right? Like scraping the barrel and like, is their team again? Literally, we can save. They're not jumping into the championship and trying to get to the Premier League. They're not jumping into League One trying to get the championship. They're like going all the way to the bottom
Did
And
you
Well,
guys
that's
hear?
probably what they could afford. I mean, I know movie stars
Yeah,
are rich, but
right.
when you talk about soccer team ownership,
Sure.
they probably couldn't afford a League Two team or
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, for
Yeah.
sure.
Did you guys hear
Uh,
the Sacramento owner he bought into Huddersfield? I think it was in championship. Or
Yeah, I saw that.
did you see that?
Was that
Yeah,
right?
that was like just like today. I think they announced it or yesterday.
Oh, okay. No, I
He's
saw one a
buying
couple weeks ago. I'm not sure who exactly. Bristol. Somebody brought in Bristol. Is that who it was? I don't know. I mentioned something
Huddersfield.
about it.
Huddersfield.
Nagel, or I don't know who that. If that
Is
is
that who it was?
from Sacramento. Yeah,
But yeah,
it's almost like a fad now, right? It's like, what are you doing? Oh, I'm going to go buy a soccer team.
so that's what I said. I tweeted about that when I saw this last one, and I think it was. I want to say it was Bristol City, but somebody was, some American billionaire was like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to go buy an English team." I'm like, if we had pro rel, that money would be here. You could start
Well,
a team or you could whatever. Instead, it's $300 million, the $500 million. The only way to get into the top league. There's no way.
Yeah.
Whereas if you take over a middle championship team, maybe you can get into the playoff. If not this year, then next year. You're looking at a 1 year return of millions and millions of dollars, as opposed to if you do anything here, that just doesn't happen. It can't.
Yeah, it's a
Right.
drawback
The
with
way
like.
it's built.
Sorry, go ahead, John. Sorry.
I was just going to say, Ryan and Rob would have never invested in Wrexham if it wasn't for the potential to get out of the National League. They did not buy them just to win the National League and do a nice story about Wrexham. Wrexham has a history
want
of
to get
being
in
in the
the
top
EPL.
level and then came back down. And to go with all the other things Andrew said about, the generations of fans and being one of the oldest clubs in the world. I mean, there's so many things about how that club is the fabric of the community. But they have the potential to get out of the National League and keep going up. There is a vision that you could get to at some point. And people talk about, with MLS, if we get back to that, it's like, well, the owners, like they've invested so much and they'll never, they can't lose their money. And my argument, kind of to circle back around to that, is, then maybe that's the problem. Maybe we have the wrong ownership groups in Major League Soccer or in soccer in general. If everything has to serve their pockets.
No,
Man, I'd love to have a redo on the whole first division soccer in the U.S. I mean, gosh, as MLS grows and becomes more powerful, like the odds of getting pro rel are just dwindle. I mean, it's basically you kind of have to just accept that it's never going to happen. And
I think the closest thing is they'll make some sort of like USL championship if they get big enough, because they're gonna keep pushing these teams, right? And eventually maybe they'll be up to 40, and then they can be at 40 and split it halfway and be like, okay, you guys get the Apple exclusives and you're on TV. You have to be in the top half of the league to have a Fox game, and you don't get this, you don't get that, and they could have some sort of fake pro rel that way, is kind of the way that maybe I see it, where you're still revenue sharing, so you're not kicking people out, but like you are
we can just
rewarding
bring
the top
promotion
teams.
and relegation. Let's just start
Right.
promoting.
But I mean,
gosh, what if
Yeah.
the San Jose Earthquakes got relegated to USL? Gosh, that would be so fun.
but yeah, they just do it
It'd be
within
such
themselves.
a fun league then.
And the best teams play the best team. Have your own pro rel for MLS of the top 20 teams play each other, and at the end of the year, the bottom 3 go down and have to play the Earthquakes, and but it's frustrating, and I'm frustrated for the light that it shines not on itself, but on the rest of American sports that are the same thing. Tanking. You decide before the year you're going to tank, right? I mean, I'm wearing a Sixers shirt,
right.
so you don't have to talk to me about tanking. But again, it's like, why? Why not? Like, if you're going to be in the middle of the pack, why not go to the bottom to try to get to the top? And that's so messed up. And that it's frustrating. And you look at, there's no reason for the Oakland A's, the Pittsburgh Pirates, the Quakes, the Oklahoma City Thunder. There's no reason for them to try to win. What and why are we playing sports if you're not trying to win? Like,
because the league is more important than the club.
Yep. And that's how it is everywhere around. And there's nothing that.
Hold on a second. Hold on. I got to take issue with something Jason just said, because tanking in the NBA is not the same as, because my beloved San Antonio Spurs are hot on the hunt for a guy named
tanking?
Victor Wembanyama.
Right.
Okay. He's a French player, freakishly tall,
And by
freakish
that you mean they're
athleticism.
throwing off the league by losing games.
They're in a tight race to the bottom. Yes.
Yeah.
But let me tell you,
Yeah.
getting Victor
Get out of the
Wembanyama is
way.
going to
Out of their way.
get the franchise back where it belongs,
Again,
which is, of course, the top
You're
of the NBA.
talking to someone who's the biggest fan of Joel Embiid in the world, the best player in the world. So yeah, there's no reason to argue with me that tanking,
Everybody in the
so
NBA
again,
is one of the best players in the world.
yeah,
I'll agree with that.
you
I'll agree
tank
with you there.
you tank so many times to try and get your lottery tickets, and sometimes you get a Ben Simmons, and sometimes you get a Joel Embiid, and you hope you get a Joel Embiid. But same thing with soccer in MLS, right? It's built off of that, and there's no reason for the Quakes or anybody to do anything. And for Galaxy, there's no reason for them to build up their farm team when they can just pay somebody else to come in. Maybe Galaxy's a bad example, but that's what LAFC's been doing, right? We'll just play Bale to come in. I mean, they had like five designated players last year, and somehow they were not counting two of them as designated players because I don't know if it was a discovery rights thing or what, but yeah, somehow they had like five players making over what they were allowed to be making, but just nobody said anything about it, and there you go. That's how you do it. Bring in Ibrahimovic, bring in Bale, bring in these guys, and
I hate to give credit to MLS, and I don't know everything about how their finances work. I'm not actually an MLS super fan, but I will say credit to MLS right now. They're doing far better than U.S. soccer at bringing up and developing youth talent in the U.S. They're doing more, especially since the dissolution of the Development Academy, where MLS Next has stepped in. Not MLS Next Pro, that's a different thing. I'm talking MLS Next, the youth league, and the MLS Academy system.
yeah,
All of the like top talent in the U.S. You get scouted, you go off to these academies. It is a real pathway for these players, and that is something that didn't exist previously, and it's not something that U.S. soccer was really good at doing either. So they have stepped in there on that side of things. That's why when we talk about these bringing in these Euro retirement players and turning the league into
so
a circus,
Yep.
it's like, gosh, I mean, but because we're soccer fans, we don't look at it like what's going to get the non-soccer fan in the stadium. But like, I don't care about the non-soccer fan.
Yeah.
The non-soccer fan can kick rocks. I'm not invested in I'm not an ambassador for the sport. I don't care about growing the game in the U.S. I'm not invested in seeing MLS revenues increase by 3 or 4% year over year.
What does that do for me?
Nothing,
what does that do
right?
for me?
Exactly.
I'm here to see my team win a damn championship.
And so as a soccer fan, it's like, gosh, I really would love to see, the Duran Faris and the CJ Fodries on the field. Shout out to CJ, who I think got an assist. And he's playing MLS 2.
A couple. He was tearing up that right wing.
He's playing for Austin
2.
Austin 2. Not Austin Bold. Their team name is what? What's their team name? It's just the name of the city and then FC Austin, at the end of it.
FC, yeah.
Okay, okay, that's right. I just forget because they're all got the same name. But hey, that's a pathway that maybe didn't exist. And one thing that I think to CJ's credit as an incredibly talented player is the exposure he got playing for San Diego Loyal. I think played some part in all of this. I don't know if it was a key element, but it didn't hurt. It didn't hurt.
That's what America's supposed to be, right? The land of opportunity, right? Right? Theoretically, that you hear that all the time. And this is the land of opportunity of, he put his time in, and you don't want to see a CJ Fodry or whatever local kid it is with LAFC to come in, squash him out. I'd rather see Danny Trejo up there than Gareth Bale. Right, just as an LAFC fan, maybe they want the talent or the money or whatever. But for me, now being steeped in Loyal, that's what I want to see. I want to see our guys come up, and I want to see Domus come in as well. That's great. I'm not saying that's terrible, but I take a lot of pride in what we've built, right? And sometimes what you've built is better than what you can buy. It just feels better. I did see Naku in the comments asking the at least 300, if not $500 million question of will you support SDLS when a team comes? And I think the easy answer for that is obviously it depends on what happens with Loyal. And then my next thing would be the same way that I support the union and don't support MLS, I will support the San Diego Soccer Club and not the company that owns them.
That's a question that's come up a lot between my circle of friends of like, hey, were you going to support MLS or not? Like, what's going on? Some have said they'd walk away, some not. So for those folks that would not want to stay, because I'm in the camp of like, I'm going to support the team that's with San Diego, and I hope San Diego gets, Loyal gets absorbed by this MLS team. So like, what's the driving factor behind the camp of people that would not want to support an MLS team? Is it that everything that that we've built, as a loyal supporter group and everything else that's come along with it, is that it wouldn't go along with them, or what I mean? Like, what do you guys' thoughts on that? How do you guys feel?
I think for me it would be someone coming in, killing my family, and then moving into my house and being like, "We're great, right? Isn't this better?" Like, no, I like my family. Why'd you kill my family? Like, that's it to me. And like, I don't care if you're a supermodel. I prefer my wife and my children.
I hope that whatever billionaire, I think it's the Egyptian billionaire right now. That's what he's on on deck to come in and do that. I hope, and I know this has been the topic of a conversation for a lot of people, and I hope they come in when they do absorb Loyal and everything that they have built and the supporters have built and everything else. I mean, it would be like almost like the Spanos of soccer if they didn't, and I hope they do. And, my heart is always with the city and the team that we have. And I hope they do, man. It's like the last final, it's almost like the reckoning, right, of soccer in San Diego. What is MLS going to do if they come to San Diego? And I hope they take us all in.
Yeah. It's a tough proposition for a lot of people, I think, because with Loyal, I think we kind of all, I had some exposure to USL previously before it got announced in San Diego, and so when we were getting a USL team, I was like, well, that's actually pretty cool. That's a pretty fun league. It's a pretty cool league. It's legit. There's some history there. There's some, it wasn't like I didn't feel disappointed that we had USL instead of MLS. And what I've found as a soccer fan, that the fan experience at USL is just unlike what I think you're ever going to get with MLS. You can hang out with the players. You can talk to the players. A lot of people have like players' phone numbers in their phones. Like you can talk to these people. They're real people. They'll come and have tacos with you at the tailgate. Like it's such a cool, and it's a fun competitive league. Like this is not shit tier soccer we're watching. Like we're watching some great players, and you have these great stories like Alejandro Guido, who has all this talent, and he's on the U.S. team, and he's playing with LAFCs with Tijuana, and he has a devastating injury, and he's sidelined for like a year. He comes back, and on the game he comes back, he hurts his other knee, and he's out again, and it's just a devastating thing. But then here he is, re-emerging on his hometown team, and he's playing well in this league with a bunch of players and stories similar to his, a league that gives opportunities to kids like CJ and who gives second chances, like it or not, to somebody like Andrew Carlton, right? But it's where this stuff happens. Like it's where you can get back to where you think you're supposed to be. It's a place where you can keep keep playing whenever you're aged out of MLS a little bit, but you still got that dog in you. You still got some game, and it just makes for such compelling soccer. And these are players that you can know and that you can identify with, and that who might live like you can run into them at freaking Vaughn's, and it's just you are not going to get that with San Diego United FC of the MLS. You're not. It's never going to be that. And there are people, and that stadium, Snapdragon, it will freaking sell the fuck out every game. If there's a San Diego MLS team, it will sell out every single game, and most of those people will have never gone to see San Diego Loyal, and it will not be me in that stadium if it is not San Diego Loyal on MLS. I'm done. I'm out. I will keep supporting Loyal. I'm going to stay with the supporters groups, and I'm going to keep playing my drum at the games. And if we get MLS and Loyal survives in parallel with MLS, I'm going to be in Torero with everybody else who stays with this team and who really is.
I was going to say, I have my beer in my hand, John. It's like, cheers to you, Andrew. Seriously, dude.
It makes me so mad imagining MLS coming in,
like just because I
elbowing out Loyal. It really does. It really is aggravating to think that they could do that, and because they have the money and the sponsorships and the commercialism and the stadium and the links to an Egyptian billionaire who doesn't know fuck all about San Diego or soccer in San Diego.
I hope he listens to this podcast, man.
I'm sure he is. So. We have such a wide reach,
everything. He could be any of the 63
y'all gotta get the hook on me and pull me off the stage when this
guy needs to hear like these types of comments and voices, because how else is he going to know? He just, I'm going to walk in and do like, it's like, no, dude, you got to look at the boots on the ground and see what's happening. And you like hit it right on the head. Bam. Mm-hmm. There you go. Cheers.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't say better. And that's how I feel too. If they, things work out and whatever that looks like, I'm not saying it has to be Loyal and Torrey Green FC, or Torrey Green and Loyal FC moving up to MLS like it was when FC Cincinnati did it or anything like that. But if there's a true understanding of like, hey, we are going to elevate what you started, whatever that looks like. And I think it's probably a little bit like pornography, like you'll know it when you see it. But there's like we'll all know, and you'll know by people like Andrew Dyer who are going to be the litmus test of what that of what. Can you
imagine some team coming in here like city name FC and they just throw a palm tree or a surfboard in the logo and say, hey,
Wave was already taken. That's the only other thing we can think of.
The news conference is going to go like this. It's going to be like, I couldn't decide if I wanted to accept Loyal. Then I saw the podcast with Andrew Dyer.
Andrew Dyer, you have an Egyptian billionaire crying at
bringing in Loyal.
What time is it? 7 a.m. over there. He's probably waking up and
dabbing the tears with his $1,000 bills.
Like,
sorry. I know
this is who I need.
Move on.
I know MLS. I feel like we can talk about that every lounge.
USL really is the sweet spot, though. Like you're talking about,
it is so. It is so fun, and for a soccer fan, if you
other lower leagues, but it's not low. Like this is real soccer, right?
Yeah.
And these guys, take their time an extra hour after the game. Trust me, trying to get out of the game while these guys are signing autographs, and you're like, "Excuse me, they won't let us out until you're kind of in the way." I appreciate it, but you're in the way.
Dinner, honey.
You go, yeah.
Even for the supporter group right now, there's a couple hundred people in the supporter group.
Yeah.
We have, organizational challenges. There's a little bit of infighting and squabbling that kind of goes around with any group. Imagine if there were 7,000 people in the supporter group. Like, what's that going to be like?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I know everybody in this SG. I feel like we all know each other, that we are all see each other all the time. I recognize people. I might not know everybody's name, but like if you are at the parking lot, if you're in 109 and I see your face somewhere else,
so bad with names, but yeah, I know.
I'm going to recognize you.
Hey,
Like,
Second.
I'm going to
Like Sal,
recognize you.
who I've never
But
met. It's like, oh yeah,
once
that
you're
guy.
like, once we're like 7,000 strong, you kind of lose some of that. I don't know. I enjoy what we have right now so much that anything disrupting or changing, it's really threatening to me because I feel like we're in such a good place.
I think you'll be okay.
I don't need it. I don't need
if
anything
if
more.
it becomes good, it'll be like there will be more people who you don't know. But I think as long as we continue to see the same faces, and even starting last year with the role I was in, and then this year, just kind of expanding my group of the people whom I know, right? Like most of locals know the people in leadership because we would see Steve and Jerry and Drew got us through the pandemic on their podcast, so like everyone knows them when they see them, and so like kind of expanding that, like, oh, that's who this person is. I know who Jerry Ibarra is. I know who Alicia and Chris are. Like, there's just people who you see in the comments, and you kind of learn a little bit more. And we're open to more people coming in. I'm late to this. If you're late to this, you're looking at local number 73 there, and John Cross, who was there absolutely documenting from before day one. Andrew as well. Like, I was late to this. I came, I showed up on March 7th trying to decide what I was going to do, and then kind of took that year off and was like, yeah, I'll join the locals once we can get back out. So I came in a second year, and now here I am responsible for things, which is ridiculous, right? So there's somebody else out there today, and that we would encourage, please come out, please help us set up. Please, if you're like, oh, you know what? Hey, I can help with graphics. Hey, I can help with this. We could use a video editor. We can, like, come on, guys.
If you like MLS, we'll take
I'm nobody. I know nothing about soccer. I was not involved in San Diego soccer before this. I'm not in communications. Like, people, just get out here, man. Come on. Like, the water's great. Come hang out. Come have fun. And just do it.
To tag on that a little bit, I mean, we do have Sal with us tonight, and Sal is, while he's been around as local number 73 from the beginning, but starting to help out now with more things and doing our interview show. And I'd like to kind of turn it over to Sal for a few minutes here, because Sal took a trip to Lincoln City, which some of you saw,
Yes.
some of the stuff that was posted in Discord. And when you watch
Nebraska?
Sal's interview tomorrow, you'll find out a little bit more. But I think Sal has some things he wanted to share with us before we wrap up the show tonight. So I want to give the floor to Sal for a little bit.
Yeah, thank you, John. And I'm not going to go into a lot of the details about the trip itself because it's in that other show that we did. I'm sorry, John, or Andrew, did you?
Oh, you talking about Lincoln, Nebraska, home of the Cornhuskers?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. So when I was over there, I was treated to some swag, and I brought it back specifically for the supporters group. Okay, it's not for anyone specific person, so I don't know where the Batcave is for the locals, but when it's down there, I want you guys to put this up here. It's a little
nice
in the package. It's all brand new, hasn't been regifted or anything, and it's just kind of like the street sign for the stadium.
Sal, can you tell us what the connection with Lincoln City is for people who might not know?
Sure. Yeah. So last year, I think it was November. Excuse me. November timeframe when Loyal had announced a partnership with Lincoln City Football Club in Lincoln. It's about
Nebraska.
3 hours. No, Lincoln. England. Are you serious? Are you joking? Or are you are joking?
I'm trying to elicit the description from you, so that because not everybody knows about English football.
Yeah, no. So Lincoln City is 3 hours north of London, where I was at when I took the trip up there, and to kind of give an idea of where the hell is Lincoln, or what is it? I didn't realize this, but there's a castle there that has one of the exemplifications of the Magna Carta. So that's kind of its highlight deal. They have the cathedral and the castle, and I actually did a quick tour up there. So it's 3 hours north. Lincoln City plays with, I believe, League One, if I'm not mistaken. I hope I'm not screwing that up. And that's basically who they are. I mean, in a nutshell, I was only there for like the day, right? And so San Diego Loyal last year had announced a partnership with the club, and I had already booked and planned a trip to London for Tottenham to go watch Tottenham play. I'm a Tottenham supporter, and
It's okay.
it's okay.
We all make mistakes.
I know.
I mean,
Oh.
Jason's team is probably somebody much worse, so don't even worry about.
Yeah, it's fine.
And so the partnership was announced after I planned my trip, and so I contacted the club, and I screwed up the guy's name in the last show, but I won't screw up this time. It's Rob Noble. I think it's Rob Noble. I hope I'm getting it right. And Lou Wade was a ticket lady, and they hooked me up. And I went up there, and they I basically went there and I did a quick tour. And like I said, I'm not going to go into too many details, but that's basically how the connection was. And I think the club is also owned, from what I understand, by Americans. There's like 3 American executives that are connected with the club. They were actually there when I was there. And that's the gist of it. And you'll have to tune into the other episode to kind of listen to all the
teaser. Just a little Tuesday night teaser.
But anyway, I went to the shop, the club shop, and I bought this guy here. So I want whoever, I don't know who I give this to, but if you guys can put this up in the back cave of Loyal. And then I also brought, of course, this is like the universal kind of thing that you have to bring back.
Gotta have it.
Nice.
I don't know if that's getting in the camera all that well, but that's the imp. That's their kind of like their.
Is that the creature from Where the Wild Things Are?
You know what? I started watching Game of Thrones again, and I think this is where that guy came from.
That guy came. Yeah, he. So when they announced it, I decided that I would take Lincoln City to the Premier League in FIFA. So I have.
Okay.
I've seen that guy quite a bit, and they're always asking us how the imps.
It doesn't count if you do it on rookie mode, Jason. Come on, man.
I have enough difficulties in my life. Let me have this.
I'll bring this to the next. I don't know if it'll be the next watch party or the game or whatever, but I'll give this to somebody so you guys can just put that up there so that they know that we're behind them. And I hope with this kicking in with the locals, we can I did meet the media team over there. We can tune them in and kind of get something going. I don't know. There's a lot of possibilities John and I kind of talked about. So
I love that, and I appreciate you doing that. I appreciate you doing my job for me there. Again, if anyone else wants to help out, I have a big family and do not always need to be doing all this.
I will hook you up with I'll connect you guys. I swear to God, because they actually took me into the media room before the game started. They're like, "Hey, everyone, this is Sal." They all were all working on the computers. They're like, "Hey, Sal, nice to meet you. If you need anything."
We love it. Yeah, I have been in contact with I forget the exact name of it because I've been having this delicious drink. But there's a podcast that their fans have that I've been in contact with. And by contact, I mean we started following each other on Twitter and kind of said, "Hey, we should do something." So, we love that, and look out for that with Kicking It with the Locals with Sal.
Yeah, absolutely. That'll be fun. And Dylan just posted that up. Dylan, where I would love to tune in with them also. That would be cool.
Yeah,
that would be awesome.
So, with them, we're in the lounge. We can talk about it. A Swedish podcast contacted us because we now have 2 former Swedish players on our team. They just kind of want to see what's up with us and where Damas and Joe Corona went. So, I'll be getting you in contact with them too. And
well, that's really cool. I'd be interested to hear their thoughts about what their performances last year. I don't think that club did very well, so I'd be interested to hear like their thoughts about these players that came through, what they thought of them, and what they. Because I think players find success in one league, don't always find it in the next league. I don't know whether either of them had a good year last year, but I would be interested to hear about it. That's super cool.
Yeah, and I'm interested. I'm interested with Lincoln City if there's going to be like exactly what that relationship looks like. I don't know if we know that or that's something again we could have someone on to talk about. If it's training, if it's just we're going to be selling Lincoln City stuff in our shop and they'll sell Loyal jerseys in their shop, what it looks like exactly. But, we're here to make friends, right?
Yeah, it was weird when I was over there. Not to go into too many details, but when I was over there, I kind of asked the same question, like, "Hey, so what's going on?" They're like, "You're like the first or second guy that's come out here. Like, we're kind of still shaping it stuff." So which is cool. That's like that. That's awesome that they're interested in all that, because I think having this across the pond relationship, I don't know, can turn this into something bigger. I don't know. It's cool though to have a pen pal you can write to and actually do that. Hopefully do a podcast with and share ideas and stories, and that's a cool thing about something like that. Definitely.
And I would think I want to say that Kyle Vassell came from League One.
He did, yeah, he did.
So there's maybe a little bit there of like we call up our friends at Lincoln, or or Ricardo calls up his friends over at Lincoln City and says, "Hey, we're looking into so and so. What do you think?"
I think Ben House is like their talisman at the moment, if I'm not mistaken. I that's the name that stuck out to me.
Ben and Ricardo. Yeah, so we get a little, we get a little bit of, and the British connection has worked for us, right? You look at Charlie, you look at Jack Metcalf, you look at Kyle, obviously. So that would hurt to have somebody on the inside say, "Hey, maybe you guys aren't looking at this guy, but we're looking at this guy. You played him twice this year. What do you think?"
So, yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah,
that would be awesome.
And for us, again, making friends everywhere we go. So, most places we go. My guess is Andrew's not leaving with any friends this weekend, but you never know, right?
In Phoenix?
In Phoenix.
I'm leaving with the friends I go there with.
The banditos.
Yeah. So we should have good support there. I'm bummed I'm missing it.
Yeah, you guys represent. I'm not gonna be able to go. My son's actually in Phoenix. He's coming into San Diego.
That's right. He's going the wrong way. Imperfect timing.
Wait, he's going the correct way.
Oh, right. It's early. He knows it's not summer yet, right? Is it already summer there? Jeez. Summer starts at spring break.
John, is there anything else we need to touch on in the lounge that we have failed to discuss? I know there was a few topics we wanted to get to.
I don't think there was anything that's pressing. I have something that I'll mention quickly just to let people think about. Dylan, Sal, and I spoke about this the other night when we were doing Sal's interview for Kicking It with the Locals. And it's this idea of doing our own internal kind of a pick-em each week with USL teams. Just pick the games, but with a little twist. And it's something that Dylan experienced in a different league where they do pro rel, and you're in group of about 6 in each tier, and you just play against those teams that week. If you win, you move up. If you lose, you go down, and the others stay. But this idea of saying maybe if we could do something in-house, and maybe with some forms and spreadsheets and how to put it together. Obviously, we need someone to pull it together, but I'm throwing that out there as an idea for people to think about of how maybe we could pull something off like that, and just maybe not do it for any kind of money, but do some kind of stupid trophy at the end or something.
Whoever wins has to be bum for a week.
Oh,
in the summer.
You have to fetch the bum. You have to fetch the sticker.
Yeah. I did it a couple weeks ago when it was 52 degrees and still lost about 12 pounds of water weight. So, yeah, don't worry, I gained it back. But
just throwing that out there for people to think about.
How about score prediction for this weekend? You guys want to do that for this?
3-0, man.
I don't feel good about this.
3-0 once again. Run it back.
Yeah, all right. That sounds about right.
I have a hard time. I generally am a homer, and so sometimes I overcorrect trying not to be, but I don't feel good about this weekend. We'll see.
Yeah, I don't know.
Come on, man. Come on. Okay, listen. Okay, I'm gonna stop this car and pull over.
I don't feel good about it.
Scold the kid in the back seat because listen,
Go ahead.
Jason, we are fan media. Okay,
right.
Now the difference between like media, like news media, and fan media is news media. You have to be realistic and be like, their metrics are plus and minus, blah blah blah, and matchups is. But see, in fan media,
you just take your team to win every time. by 3.
Bro, that's
You
right.
win every
Right?
game.
Like,
They win.
I
We
am
win.
not saying I wouldn't love
we're
a 3-0
good.
win.
They're bad. We're gonna win. They're gonna
Mhm.
lose. They're never gonna score on us. We're gonna score. We're gonna break records.
You know
Saturday.
where I learned that,
Records,
Andrew? Is
yeah,
being a
I like
Tottenham
that.
supporter, dude. I learned that from
You
being a
just
Tottenham
you just
supporter.
go for it. Yeah,
We win every game, damn it. I don't care what you say.
right.
But here in
training
fan
for this.
media
I hope
world,
for you, and I don't hope for you that it's 3-0. Maybe I do, because that would suit you better. Last year when we won 3-2 with the final goal, like, so we were blowing them out in the first half and somehow only scored 2 goals, which, we kind of did that a lot last year. But so we were up 2-0, and again, this is people who come out and do these things. Talked to Landon Donovan after the game when I saw him at the hotel. Oh, no big deal, right? But that
back
could
at the
be you.
hotel, me and Landon were kicking it by the pool.
Yes,
and-
if you go on these trips, there's a chance that you will talk soccer with Landon Donovan for 15 minutes as like equals. So anyway, and afterwards I said, like, dude, could have been 3-0 in the first half. And he goes, could have been 4-0. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah. Like, he was like, he knew it. Like, we were hammering that first half. I think we had a couple scuffs and a couple like stuff, but we just dominated them. And then they came back with, if you remember that game in Phoenix last year, I mean, they hit lasers, they hit bombs, 2 of them that were just absolutely ridiculous. And it's 2-2, that completely changed the energy in the stadium, completely switched the momentum. And then that Guido goal, man,
This
there's memories that I will have for a long time when it comes to sports, and that's in the top tier of that face he made at the end. Like, you could feel the face. We were on the other side of the stadium. You could feel it. You could feel like how viscerally he wanted that, and like how he knew that he drove a dagger right through their heart. So I hope that they win 3-2 in the 85th minute for you. Because that's what I had, and it was delightful. The 3-0 will be fun. You just party the whole time and whatever. But a little bit of the coming back, and then
I want to pull an LA Galaxy on them, Galaxy 2 on them, and get
5-0.
5-0. That would
fine.
be. I mean, the more goals, the better the game for us, right?
Sure.
So 6-0, 7-0, better. We're sending the stairway to heaven there. I'm on it. I'm on there for the ride.
They didn't scare me really the first game. I have recency bias, so I didn't love what I saw out of that game. I know Sal said it wasn't as bad as it looked. It felt bad in it though. So we'll see. But we love to be Phoenix, right? That's what number 9 said. So.
They've got a lot to prove. Losing that match on the road, they're going to bounce back.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to get Charlie back.
I think a pissed off, a little bit embarrassed Evan Conway probably isn't the worst thing for us.
He needs to redeem himself.
Yeah, I mean, little price redemption could go a long way.
As aggravating as it is for us watching him muff that goal, like, imagine what it's like for him. Imagine like he's got to be just torn apart. Like, how did I miss that?
Absolutely.
So hopefully he harnesses that in his like Naruto ball of rage and blasts it out.
It's hard. There's been a lot of turnover here in the early season. That's kind of been a little bit surprising. Some injuries and stuff. Sorry, and sad to see what happened to Ebby. But it has been a little bit like, what is going on with these lineups? And it's some of it's been necessity and is what it is. So hopefully we get Evan and Damas up top and can continue. That can be something for the rest of the season. I think they were kind of warming up Damas, right? He came in off the bench these last couple times. So hopefully we get some danger up top and score some goals. I mean, last year was fun, even though, it didn't end the way we wanted it to, but it's fun to lead the league in goals. I'll tell you that much.
Did we lose?
It is always fun to lead the league in goals. That's for sure.
Leading the league in goals. If we could do that, and then people can complain about the defense, but leading the league in goals is fun for me.
Definitely got to keep an eye out for Arteaga, right? He almost had one on us the last game. Arteaga, Trejo, Gallardo, those.
I know Trejo haunts my dreams. I beg them to go get Trejo this offseason. I was like, I don't care if he fits. I don't care if he's just not on someone else's team. And then he went to goddamn Phoenix. I was like, are you like anything. Send him to Indy with Jack Blake and everyone else. Apparently went to Indy this year. Go there, just fucking Phoenix. Are you kidding me? So luckily nothing the first time, and hopefully nothing this time.
Yes, indeed.
Safe trip out there, Andrew.
Oh yeah, I'm flying, bro. I ain't driving.
Okay.
So I had to go to
Either way.
Arizona this last weekend. Let me just say, something happened to me that just reaffirmed everything that I say about the state of Arizona, but maybe not the northern part, because I do like the northern
Yeah, the
part.
northern
but,
part seems fine. I've never been there.
you know, I had to go to Tucson. My kid had a soccer thing, and I had to drop him off at the field. I had to go back to the hotel to pick up my wife, and so I'm going, and there's this truck in front of me. It's some lifted POS truck, right? And this, it kicks up a rock, and it just smashes right into my windshield.
Oh no!
And I get this, oh man, this nasty spider crack on my windshield, and I'm just sitting there like, Arizona, like so mad about like Arizona. And of course, it was some Arizona lifted truck person on an Arizona street, and yeah,
Perfect.
so
Perfect.
but I will
so
not
you're
be
ready
driving.
too. So
I
you're
will be,
angry and ready for this.
I'm harnessing the rage.
You and
It's
Evan.
bad enough visiting the state for consecutive weekends, but we're going there to get 3 points and a win, and to make a bunch of noise and
Bring the windshield and throw it on the pitch.
You did this.
All right. Well, I want to thank Sal for joining us, Jason, of course, and John, as always. Thank you so much for hanging out on a Tuesday. And for the people who hung out with us, thank you so much. Appreciate all the comments and the interaction. I know we didn't read every comment, but we see y'all, and we appreciate y'all hanging out with us. And if you are listening at a later date, thank you so much for listening to the pod. There's a lot more locals and loyal content coming from the Bum TV podcast and YouTube network. So please go and subscribe to the YouTube channel. It doesn't hurt. It's not going to screw up your YouTube algorithm feed. Just come on, subscribe, support local soccer, support your local supporter group, subscribe to the YouTube feed, get it on your podcast feed, and jump in the Discord if you're not already there. Thank you all so much for spending time with us, and we will see you next week, where we can talk about the 3 glorious points we earned in Phoenix.
Bring him back, baby.
Loyal. Let's
All
go
right.
loyal.